2008.
A little bit after.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, there's a dude named Evan Tanner. He was a UFC champion, and he was a very interesting guy. And he would do these things that he would go on a walkabout, to try to find himself, to just go alone in the woods. And he did one in Death Valley. And heat stroke apparently affects your ability to literally, you can't think straight. So he couldn't figure out where the water was. He just couldn't figure out where it was. Because, I don't know. I've never had heat stroke, but the way it's described is it doesn't matter how tough you are. It's your brain doesn't work right. Your memories aren't good. You can't walk right. You're about to die. Yeah. And then he died. And Death Valley is, I think it's the hottest spot on Earth, right?
Yeah.
What does it get to?
It's right outside of Vegas, right?
Yeah. The hottest recorded I think we hit was 130 something.
Yeah.
So Evan, just a very interesting guy, very, very tough guy too, and a great fighter, and we all loved him. And so, an interesting dude. When an interesting dude winds up dying in a way that's unfortunate and preventable like that, it's fuck, man. He would have been cool to have around. He had a very different take on why he was a fighter, and he was trying to find himself through this. And there's certain guys that it's there's authenticity that comes through in music. And it fucking comes through in everything, man. It comes through in fighting too. It comes through. There's certain humans that are just so authentic that when they're out there, you want the best for them. Right. You want to see them fight, And when you see people like that in life, that's one of the beautiful things about today, is that you get exposed to so many more inspirational and fascinating people. To be a young person right now, and to have all these different stories. You got your Coulter Walls out there. You got Zach Bryan. You got all these different human beings. You got all this music from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. And there's so much to influence you.
And it's at the tap of it's in our hand.
Anytime you want.
Yeah.
Why go to sleep? Your parents aren't paying attention. Stay on YouTube. And you'll be on YouTube till 4 o'clock in the morning. You got to get up at 6.
Yeah.
These kids don't give a fuck.
At all. And the thing about it is, it changed our business on its head, on our head, and everybody was so against it at first.
Napster.
Yeah, they were so I never forget having a conversation with a distributor that said, well, let me say this first of all. I would like to say though, I don't want to breeze over it. I'd like to take a moment because I know it means a lot to his family. I'm sure to say rest in peace to Evan Tanner. And I'm sure you bringing that up means so much to that family alone, and that's awesome. Then that alone, his story will live forever because of this, and that's also what's cool about the era we're in, right? You know what I mean? Is that forever we'll have that clip of Joe Rogan getting emotional talking about his friend Evan Tanner because you've seen a picture of you with a beard. That makes me want to cry with you, Joe, because that's that fucking awesome. I don't want to breeze past that because that's cool as fuck.
There's something about commentating on fighters where you have this this crazy connection with them, where you want them to do good in life. You want them to. You've seen their soul. When you see two dudes going to war inside the octagon, they're exposing every fiber of their being, especially if it's a tough fight. All the quitting you shows up. All the excuses show up. Everything shows up. The will, the courage, everything. Whoever you are, it shows up, and you get to know these people, and you get to know them as a fan too. And I think it's one of the things that people love about fighters. So you get to see you see the actual whole human being. There's no place to hide.
Yeah, I think we relate to things. We connect with things that we either relate to, or things that are so around us that we could never understand it.
Yeah.
So for me, for a fighter, it's I respect the fact that I could never imagine getting down into a diaper, getting into a ring with a pair of oven mitts, Joe, and fucking trying to kill another man for north of 15 minutes at times. That just concept to me is fucking insane. You know what I'm saying? It's
well, it is insane.
I just could never wrap my head around that. I was talking to Tony last night about comedians. Me and the musicians were in the green room shooting the shit with Tony, and I was like, we got something you don't, Tony. We can bail each other out, or we're going to bomb together. I've bombed before and looked back at the band and just smiled well, we're bombing, it's happening. You know what I'm saying? It fucking sucks. You know what I mean? It's